Hello again. In this video I'm going to be trying out the Tuatahi Camp Axe. So I think it's a relatively new design from Tuatahi. I'm not too sure how long it's been out, but I think it's very clearly influenced by the racing axe design. It's essentially just a shrunk down version. Even the handle is very much racing axe style. But I think what they obviously trying to appeal to a broader market, calling this a Camp Axe, making it smaller. I mean, it's still quite a heavy axe, and it's obviously got a very racing inspired handle. But anyway, in this video I did a little bit of chopping, felling, and some splitting of alder and also some larch. The larch was very knotty, so it was struggling. But that was with any axe, you know, those knots are tough to get through. So anyway, stick around, see how I get on, and I'll give you some conclusions at the end. So I've just cleared about 4 or 5 quite large trees out of this section. This area actually was an old pond. We're trying to clear out the trees that have grown in it over time. It's probably about 20 years these things have been growing. I think they were willows that fell over from the riverbank and have just taken root in this marshy section. So I think it's been about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes it's taken just using the Tuatahi Camp Axe to fell everything and process it all. So it was pretty effective actually, felling and limbing We got it all out, so about an hour and 45 minutes to do the whole lot. Alrighty, so what do I think of the Tuatahi Camp Axe? Excuse the temporary mask, that's courtesy of the Tuatahi shipping department. You do have to buy the mask extra, so I didn't do that. I'm going to make one at some point, but I'm just using this now, so it's extremely sharp. I want to keep it protected, myself included. So, as with anything that Tuatahi does, the fit and finish is unbelievable. Really well made, beautifully finished. So it is a lovely axe, and I think that's what you'd expect from Tuatahi. It came exceptionally well packaged. I mean, I don't know if any other axe company packages their axes as well as Tuatahi, but it's like double boxed, you know, shredded paper all around. It's you know, it's not going to get damaged in transit. So covered in grease as well, so it can't rust on the journey over. But yeah, really good job on the packaging. As I say, fit and finish is perfect, really good. Everything's seated exceptionally well. Handle's nicely finished off. As I say, beautiful shine on here. There's no blemishes. It's pinned like a racing axe. Yeah, so it is just Tuatahi standard. Really lovely thing to look at and to hold. So in use, it is heavy. This is not a light head, and it's difficult to know where they're positioning this actually, because they call it a camp axe rather than camping or bushcraft or anything like that. So presumably they are fairly aware that you're not going to be carrying this in your backpack, because it is just too heavy for that. So camp, I guess, put it in a vehicle and use it around a camp. Definitely that's feasible. It's shorter, so it could fit in boxes quite easily. But yeah, so I mean, if positioning wise, they might be positioning this something in the sort of range of a boy's axe, or the Husqvarna forest axe, or the Grandswordsbruks large forest axe. Might be that sort of range they're going for. So this is for comparison, this is the Husqvarna forest axe. So it's a little bit shorter. But look at the difference in the head. Unbelievable. This thing is an absolute beast. It's a lot heavier. It's got a racing style handle, so it's thinner than this one, but it's also quite flat, so it gives you good grip on it when in use. But as I say, you know, if they potentially, well, they're either just creating a whole new category themselves, or they're sort of pitching it in this sort of mark. So I'm going to assume that that's what they were doing, and do comparison against this sort of, which is a really good utility sized axe, the Council Tool Boys axe. This one here, which is a much cheaper version of all of them, certainly cheaper than the Grandswordsbruks large forest axe. So yeah, that's the sort of category I think they're trying to aim at. But so for starters, very different blade shape. This looks more like looks like a racing axe, and this is your typical Swedish forest axe design. This looks quite elegant, I have to say. It does look elegant. This looks like a real bruiser, and probably is how I'd summarize how they work in use. This thing just plows through any wood. I mean, it just bit like crazy. It's split really well. Again, it's got the weight. It's got a nice wedge shape. Extremely sharp. I mean, it's crazy how sharp this is for a stock axe. So the work rate is amazing on this thing. But certainly in use, when I say elegant, this style of axe just sort of fits in your hand a little bit better. This one, after a while using it, so when I was doing the felling, I'm probably using it, well, just under short of 2 hours, but it started getting quite heavy on my wrists after a while. I started really noticing the weight of this thing. And I think you could use an axe like this for quite a lot longer without feeling that same fatigue. So I think that's certainly a consideration. It's not something you want to be using for extended periods for sure. So the handle is an interesting one, and you know, those of you who watch Ben Scott's excellent axe channel will know that when he bought one of these, he actually decided to just get the head, and he put a much longer handle on. I think Oxenkoff handle, something like that, which makes this quite different actually. With a different handle, this would be a very different axe, I think. And I tend to think that he probably was right. This does feel a little bit short. You know, when you want to swing and utilize that weight, I kept finding that I was right at the end and I wanted to get a bit further. I mean, you've got really good grip with this massive palm swell on the end, typical racing axe. So in certain situations, you know, maybe the splitting was actually quite nice. I was close up and, you know, I was dealing with those thick stumps and it worked really well. But certainly in the felling, I felt that I could have done with a slightly longer handle. So that would be one consideration. I mean, it worked, as I say, it worked fine, but for comfort and for extended use, I think the longer handle probably was the right way to go. I mean, can't compare it because I haven't got this axe on a long handle, so I don't know how different it will feel. But it's certainly, if you start noticing the weight after a while, for sure, and you know, whether the handle would alleviate that, I don't know. But you know, aside from that, what an incredible thing. Amazingly well made, amazingly well functioning axe. Really nice little thing. The only other, that's not really criticism because it's just the way it is, but it would have been nice to have an option for a cheaper mask as standard, because the mask they do offer, but you have to buy it as an extra, is a like a racing style axe sheath, and you know, that adds to the cost again. So it would be nice if they provided this one just with a really basic leather mask for those who didn't want to pay for the extra racing axe style mask. But you know, that's a small consideration. I mean, they are quite a unique company. I think, you know, they're stuck to the guns, they know what they make, and they really do a really good job at it. So quite a unique thing, and you know, I'm really happy to have this. It's a lovely axe, performs amazingly well, and looks really good. So yeah, I mean, I didn't manage to put it through extensive use. I mean, as I say, it was just under 2 hours of felling, bucking, limbing. Unfortunately, we didn't film a lot of it, so it's difficult to gauge how much time was spent felling that willow and alder in the pond. But the only thing was, after a while, I started noticing, particularly on this hand, my wrist was sore for a while afterwards, just from the weight. It is a weighty head. But yeah, quite a unique thing, and I think overall conclusion is 100% worth it. Amazing little axe. Well, little, I say little, compared to its racing axe brother, it is very small, but compared to most other sort of utility axes, it's quite a beast. You know, yeah, it is a really nice axe. So yeah, not sure if that's of use to anyone, but that's just my first impressions of having used this for a couple of hours, and definitely be trying out some different scenarios just to see really what I think about the handle length. But I'm inclined to think that Ben was right, and it does need a longer handle. I think that would make this pretty much perfect then, just to sort of counterbalance this extra weight on this head. I mean, it's a weighty beast. But yeah, Tuatahi standard of fit and finish, they're unbelievable. Really good job. So, well, I hope this is of use to anyone who's looking at these axes. I mean, most people who will know of Tuatahi know their quality, and this, you know, this doesn't deviate from that at all. It's right up there. So the only consideration I would guess would be, do you just buy the head and put your own handle on, or do you give it a go with this one? But otherwise, highly recommend it. So yeah, I hope that helped, and thanks for watching.